Matt Mindenhall.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the USA, Derrick Lunsford.
All right. This is the real deal. All right. Now, he was first runner-up last year.
He was first runner-up last year. And in the call-outs this morning, it was a little interesting.
Yes, they were very interesting. He actually turned pro here in Las Vegas. Jumped up a class. Got all the shape and all the potential in the world. Right now, I'm putting him in the Matt Mindenhall category back in 1982 when Lee Haney came onto the Nationals. But Matt was held at bay.
That is a great...
Something I've always believed in is that everybody's heard it. If you believe it, you can achieve it. If you dream it, you can become it. I found that in a fortune cookie when I was a freshman in high school as a wrestler, and I believed in it ever since. I wrote it everywhere, and I wrote it in my school yearbook in high school. I wrote it in college. I've lived by that my entire life. I've always thought, you know, somebody in the world has to be the best. Somebody has to be great at something. So why not me, right? So I believe if you believe it, you can achieve it. If you dream it, you can become it. And you have to 100%, no questions asked, believe in yourself before anybody else will ever believe in you or you'll ever accomplish anything. So if people tell you to check your ego or you're too confident or you're cocky or blah, 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 maybe you're verbally saying things that you could just keep to yourself. It's okay to go into the gym and say, hey, everybody, I'm going to be a bodybuilder. And then you go and do it. That's great. That's not being cocky. It's not being arrogant or having an ego. It's saying, hey, this is my goals. And then you go do it. You don't say, I'm the best bodybuilder ever, and you've not done a show before or something like that. So believe in yourself and don't be discouraged by people trying to bring you down to earth, because if you're trying to achieve something extraordinary, then it's going to be out of this world mentality. So yeah, it works.
Right. Welcome back to episode 14 of Bash Bros podcast. Can't believe it's been 14 already. These annoying little fuckers. But this week we have IFBB pro Derrick Lunsford on.
Yeah, man. So first of all, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's nice getting to know a couple of you who I've not met before and having a nice discussion, talking about bodybuilding we all love. So yeah, what got me into bodybuilding was I was a collegiate wrestler back in 2011, 12 time frame. And I just knew that, you know, wrestling wasn't going to be my future. I didn't want it to be, whether I had the potential or not. So I was going to school, going to college, got my business degree. And in the meantime, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, but I needed something to be focused on as a competitor, as a former wrestler. I wanted to wake up every day and fight for something as a competitor. So I thought, well, let me just try this bodybuilding thing. And, you know, I jumped on stage at 150, 160 pounds, and everybody said, oh, you got some potential. And so I just went all in, and I felt as if I could dedicate myself the same as I did as a wrestler for the next 3 to 5 years, you know, maybe I could, you know, get to the Olympia and be a top IFBB pro bodybuilder. And so I just kind of put all the chips in one basket, and I went for it, man. So, and I don't know, never looked back.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. Let me just take some notes.
Yeah, just woke up one day, decided I was going to be the best.
Actually, you know what? If there was one specific day that I said I'm going to be a bodybuilder, I actually said that to myself in the mirror. It was a Wednesday. I was at one of my old universities, and I was like, damn it, it's leg day. You know, I was like, I have no reason to train legs because I just want to look good, you know? So I just want to have abs and be like nice looking, you know, and not super fat. So like, man, today's leg day, and I really don't want to train legs. I have no motivation, no reason to train legs at all. But you have to do it. So I started watching some YouTube videos of some bodybuilders and Bodybuilding Motivation. And I literally just looked at myself in the mirror. I got super motivated. I said, I'm going to be a bodybuilder. And I looked at myself. I just sat there. I kept looking at myself. I said it one more time. I said, I'm going to be a bodybuilder. Shut my phone off, opened up the door, went inside, told everybody in the gym, because that's just how I was at the time. I said, told each person, I said, hey, I'm going to be a bodybuilder. And each person was like, okay, we don't give a shit. Like, that's fine. Like, good luck, man. You know, you're 150 pounds. Good luck. And so I was like, nope, I'll show you. I said, give me 3 years from now, and I'll show you I'm gonna be a bodybuilder. So that was 2014, and 2017 I ended up being at the Olympia. That was 3 years later. So
what was your physique like when you were wrestling? Did you already have like quite an established sort of physique then, or?
Yeah, I actually did. I remember getting a lot of comments, being a 130, 140 pound wrestler. Guys that were 180, 190 pounds. They're like, man, I just want to look like you. And I'm like, you kidding me? I want to be as big as you. Like, you know, so I did get comments about like, you know, my aesthetic look or whatever. I had a nice smaller look to me, but I never was a big dude. You know, I worked really, really hard as a wrestler. And you know, my fiance sitting here, she can vouch for me. I would literally stop her and say, like on a date and say, can I do this ab workout real quick? I swear to God, she'd be like, yes, sure, go ahead. And I would commit to, you know, over 500 push-ups a night before I went to bed, you know, just a regular wrestler, man, you know. And so I transitioned from, you know, training as a wrestler. I learned how to train like a bodybuilder, watching other YouTubes of, you know, Jay Cutler, Phil Heath, the greats at the time. And so I just said, let me give this competing thing a shot. But at first, I'll admit, at first I wasn't about it. So I'm not wearing those stupid posing trunks. I'm a fighter. I'm not wearing that crap, you know?
That's quite a regular theme from everyone who's like, has always said that. I'm not wearing those fucking budgie smugglers. That's for the game. We're not doing that. That's you know, wearing oil. You know, fast forward, you're fucking choosing which oil. You know, can I buy the sparkliest pants? You're like wondering. It gets so you, true, and then it just becomes normalized. Like, seeing man in pants, just normal.
Yeah. It's great.
I think that's why actually like Instagram and other platforms are very important for bodybuilding to showcase actually what it takes to be a bodybuilder, right? Because if people just see us standing on stage in these posing trunks, they're gonna think, nah, I'm not about that. But then when they see us getting it in the gym, I mean, we're busting our ass, you know, on a squat or a hack squat or leg press or something, you know, and they see us giving everything we possibly can on a super low calorie diet. It's like, okay, that's a new level of respect, especially when somebody goes through it. You know, at first when I was transitioning from wrestling to bodybuilding, you know, I never worried about my diet. I actually wasn't eating enough. And so once I started learning how the nutrition plays a role and being, you know, sub 4 or 5% body fat, maybe even as low as 3% body fat, it's like, man, that's a new level of suffer that I wasn't ready for coming from wrestling. You know, I could get punched in the face or kicked or something and that sucks in a moment, but you know, after practice or after the match is over with, you know, you go and do your thing and you can make weight by just getting in a sauna and losing some water weight. This is 24/7. You cannot get off the diet and you cannot, you know, take reps and sets off at the gym. You know, it's a constant battle of the mind as much as it is physical, you know? So there's a lot of things you could take from wrestling and fighting and transition it to bodybuilding, but you know, bodybuilding is its own subcategory of suffer and discipline.
Definitely.
I think that's what, like, cause when you're looking at a show and stuff, like, we're seeing like the different layers, and I think most people that are bodybuilding fans are not just looking at, oh, that physique's like nice. You're looking at a physical representation of that hard work. It's like people that know what it takes to do that, to get that. You're watching it, you're looking at the end result of thousands and thousands of hours. And that's like the respect thing. If you take it just at face value, like your average person who's flicking through a magazine, doesn't know bodybuilding, they're just going, okay, there's it's massive, you know. But for the people that know, it's different, isn't it? You're looking at the end result of tens of thousands of hours, and that's the respect that, you know. But then there's also, that's kind of why it's not really a spectator sport. someone just off the street is just like, yeah, cool, load of guys in pants, and I don't really know what that means. Like, am I supposed to wank someone else, or like, you know, your average person has no idea what's happening. But for the, you know, for bodybuilders and stuff, you know, you see someone come in and they get on stage and it looks like it hurts. You're like, that condition looks like every morning, even sitting down, is hurting. You know what it feels like to do that.
Yeah, it's just what? Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
That's like my favorite thing is to watch people walk off of stage. Like after they finish, I'm like, you can just see the like fibers in their glutes. I'm like, this is me determining how hard they worked. I'm like, damn.
You always look straight at the arse, Ryan, do you?
I was waiting for that.
Eyes on.
You kind of opened yourself up for that, Ryan.
Jack's on form today.
I'm going to be watching that when you do your next show, Ryan. Now, if you look shit walking off, I'm going to write you off, mate.
Dan's going to be looking at your ass.
Oh, always.
I know.
Ryan just needs to take this year and reconsider himself.
Your next Instagram story.
Now when we go and train legs, Derrick should be like, dude, stop fucking staring at my ass.
That's why he only wants to train legs with me. He says glute every time we train.
I don't think Derrick's going to wear leggings anymore.
No, it's even worse. He wears those little baby calf shorts. I can see it.
I wore those yesterday.
With Ryan about asking for trouble. Starts with a glance, and next to be like, oh, those look. Can I touch? Are they hard as they learn? Can I have a surprise?
Oh, what material are they? Oh,
yeah. Right. So,
I need to feel.
2020, Mr. Olympia, are you going to win?
No question. No question in my mind. I give everything to this, guys. I mean, not that I needed to tell you that, but every moment of my life, every day, every year has been dedicated to this. You know, I might take some rest days here and there or whatever, but it's calculated. You know, I mean, this does not stop for me. So, yeah, man. I mean, I love to bodybuild. I love to train, period. You know, so I love to sculpt my physique. I love to get better. So there's no quitting for me, man. And why would I train, you know, balls to the wall? Why would I stick to the diet and do the cardio if I'm not training for first? And
have you changed anything since last year?
Not really. I mean, my training is always adjusting to how I feel, and if I can go heavier, I'm going to go heavier. If I need to go lighter, I'm going to. So my training has adjusted over the last few years. I mean, Ryan knows I was training there in my 40 a couple of years ago, and learned a lot from Ben Pekulski and them there. But I did end up, you know, moving to another gym or a couple other gyms in the area, and I've been training more of my own style. So no, I think the training's just fine. The nutrition, you know, I'm going to have to be on lower calories. I just can't eat up too much. You know, I mean, if I'm eating over 300 carbs a day or over 50 grams of fat a day, considering my proteins at 300, you know, I'm probably not going to be, you know, making much progress one way or the other. It's just more of my maintenance, you know. So that's the difference, is that before I could eat a lot more because I was trying to grow as a full 212er, whereas now I'm just trying to get better at this weight. And I've noticed that, you know, some of my lagging body parts have been brought up, as well as more etched out and separated. And yeah, so I still have the same coach, James Brown, JB Prep. So no, I think the only thing that we need to do different this year than we did in the past was, you know, last year we tried to be as full and big and round as possible. And in doing so, you know, obviously there was some water we were holding, and we were absolutely peeled out of our mind, or I was peeled out of my mind. But the last, you know, couple of weeks we were trying to fill up more and more while maintaining that weight. And, you know, at the very last we were eating a good amount and consuming a good amount of water and sodium, where we should have probably just pulled that back and been dry as a bone, which you'll see this year.
How much weight do you have to cut for that sort of thing? Are you what you ride around at normally? I mean, you said this year was going to be different, but like, what did you come down from last time round.
Yeah, 260 isn't uncommon for me. 255, 260. That's usually a top weight. This year, I think I got up to low 250s or mid 250s again, but then I pulled it back down. I'm actually just under 240 right now, and I'm very happy with where I'm at. You know, energy starts to get a little lower during the day once I go below 240s, because, you know, my glutes are already striated and my hamstrings are separated, quad. I mean, everything's just there already. I just have to lose like another 30 pounds, 25, 30 pounds.
It's just that last year 212, isn't it?
I can't say last year, but
yeah,
I'm taking it 1 year at a time. I'll tell you that.
Ryan, I'll jump on that because that was going to be one of my questions. How long do you see yourself remaining in the 212? Because, like, do you feel that obviously you could do like the Flex Lewis and restrict yourself for a number of years to see if you can like be really competitive in the 212, or do you see yourself sort of outgrowing it and not restricting yourself? And if so, how long do you foresee that? Do you think this is going to be your last year potentially, or two?
You know, I don't have a direct yes or no. This is the last year. I'm gonna keep going for many years. I am just taking it this year, 1 year at a time. But I will tell you this, is that I am very much motivated to keep getting better, keep growing, keep getting stronger, and be maybe 240 on stage. Absolutely. That's my ultimate goal, is to be in the open and competing on the ultimate Mr. Olympia stage. But before I do so, you know, just like I told you earlier, maybe not while we were recording, but I said in 2016, I had not earned my pro card at the USAs. I ended up placing second, and I did not get the title of Mr. USA. So I promised myself that I had unfinished business to do, and I'm going to go back and get that title of Mr. USA before I do anything else. I didn't want to do another pro qualifier until I earned that title. So that's exactly what I did. So from 2016, 2017, I ended up getting my pro card at the show that I wanted, and I just dedicated myself to that. So this year, or the last couple of years, the 212 title has eluded me, right? So I placed second 2018, second 2019, and man, I don't think I would be happy with myself. I think I would regret going up to open before getting that title. Now, there's some great competitors, man. I mean, let's not get it twisted. There's some phenomenal competitors this year. This is probably going to be the toughest 212 lineup of all time. I mean, outside of having someone like Flex Lewis or even Hadi Chupin in the show. But I do believe that, you know, my hard work and the package that we will bring this year is going to get that 212 title. And then we'll make our decision whether we want to stay or if we want to go open.
At what body weight do you look your best?
Probably about 230. 230 right now. Probably 225, 230 right now.
I don't think people understand like how he looks right now. It's like, it fucking blows my mind how much weight he still has to lose. There's like so much detail in his quads everywhere, like fucking striations, feathers in his quads. And he's like fucking 30 pounds over the stage weight. I'm like, where the fuck does this come from? How do you what the fuck?
What about his glutes, right?
Oh, we managed to check those yet. No, seriously, it's a very like, it's extremely interesting. I don't know where the weight comes from. Like, really, I feel like most people that are 20, 30, 40 pounds over stage weight, it's definitely clear that they've got like at least something to lose. But like, I just feel like he just holds so much detail, and I'm like, I don't know where the fuck it comes from.
Yeah, but
so
the truth is,
he's definitely. I think it's his last year in the 200.
Yeah, the truth is, if he didn't have this sort of vendetta, he probably would be going up to the Open by now. That's the truth, really, isn't it?
That could be a possibility.
You wouldn't voluntarily lose, you know, an additional sort of 15 pound over where you look your best if you didn't have to, would you?
I realized after last year, so this is something I haven't quite said yet, but publicly that is, but After last year and the narrative of me and what I brought to the Olympia stage was, oh, he's off again, and you know, he's holding too much water, he's not conditioned. You know, I just realized, I'm like, man, you know, I want to, when I'm done bodybuilding, I'm already thinking way in the future. When I'm done bodybuilding, what do I want to be left with? And more importantly than anything, I think I want to be left with the fact that everybody knew that I gave everything to this, and they can respect the fact that I did bring a great physique to the stage. So ultimately, I just want to, that's why I always say, I just want to be my best. And I think my best will prevail. Definitely, I believe in the 212 this year. And I think I'll have a great shot in the open as well in the near future if I decide to do that. But at the end of the day, I just want respect from everyone that they know that I literally bust my ass and give everything to this to be my best. And the package that I bring, I just want it to be respected that I do that. And I brought something great. And if the title comes my way, which I think it will, then that's like the icing on the cake, you know?
People will always criticize, though. That's obviously, you probably know that better than most. The problem you had last year is the photos you posted coming up to the Olympia looked like they'd been photoshopped. Your proportions were insane.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So, like, coming into the show, I think everyone just thought you were going to wipe the floor with everyone. And then for you to not win.
I guest posed 6 weeks out for Dylan Armbrust at the Colorado show. And I was weighing about 222 to 225. And people, like, it went viral. It blew up, like, holy shit. And I wasn't, and even actually Phil Heath had a couple comments to say while I was there at Armbrust Pro Gym, hanging out and training with him, and some nice comments. But yeah, man. And then that last extra 12, 15 pounds just sucks. It's like, it just makes you look just a little worse, you know? Just truthfully.
Go on, right?
I think that's the truth, though, isn't it? It's like you have to suck yourself down so much that you're really digging yourself in that hole, especially in terms of like your nervous system and everything, that maybe when it comes back to stage and you're trying to fill up, is you kind of can't get that like balance right, and it makes you look worse because you had to come down so much, right?
Well, that's kind of why I kept my weight low earlier this year at the beginning of my prep. Normally right now I would be like probably 8 pounds heavier. Excuse me. But this time I'm not that heavy, way leaner and more dense at this weight. So yeah, I've clearly put on some muscle tissue, and it's looking at my physique overall, I put it in the right areas to be more balanced, that is. But yeah, I just have to get better at this weight. And I think that this off season, clearing my head and just doing the training that I know I need to, I think coming down sooner is going to be a better thing.
What do the last few days before a show look like for you then? Because I'm assuming to make weigh-in, you have to do some drastic measures, and then I'm sure you probably fill out from there, do you?
I've had some crazy times making weight. Actually, let me tell you about the craziest time I ever made weight. It was 2016 at the Junior Nationals. Dude, I don't even know how I survived that. I mean, not literally, but I went to the downtown YMCA just before weigh-ins, a few hours before weigh-ins in Chicago. So if that didn't tell you enough how the pool area is and the sauna, it's downtown YMCA, Chicago. It's, you know, I mean, it could be a little cleaner. Let's just put it that way. And I get in the sauna. I'm with my fiance. I get in the sauna, and I told her before I go in there, I said, I'm already dehydrated. I don't even know what's going on right now, hardly. I just need to make weight, and I have several pounds to lose still. So she said, okay, you know, I'll watch you. Go ahead and in there. And I said, okay. So I sat in the sauna, and next thing I know, I remember vaguely of a couple guys coming in and out, and all of a sudden, I remember her come busting in the door, and she said, Derrick, you need to get out of the sauna. And I said, no. I got to make weight. Let me in here for maybe 10 minutes or something. And she goes, Derrick, get out of the sauna right now. Like, you need to get out. And I said, well, what time is it? How long have I been in here? And she's like, almost 2 hours. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, help me out. And she would like grab me and was like walking me out of the sauna. And and the reason why I said this nasty kind of pool floor is I looked around, there's a few people in the pool, and I just went, I'm laying down right here. I put my face like this on the nasty wet pool floor. And I just laid there. I laid there for like another 45 minutes to an hour, and I didn't move. And everybody kept coming up saying, is he okay? Is he okay? And I'm just trying to come back to life. And I stepped on the scale, and I was like, oh, I made weight. Now let's go drive to weigh-ins. Then, you know, knowing my fiance, I love her to death. Like I said, she's sitting right here, so I have to watch what I say. But I was like, well, maybe I'll still go ahead and drive, even though I can't even see straight. So I ended up driving us back to the venue and made weight just barely at the exact time. And dude, that was probably one of the most craziest weight drops at the last minute I've ever done. I think I lost like 7 or 8 pounds in a couple hours. But, you know, I was used to that with wrestling. That's why I mentioned that earlier. You know, wrestling was my life before bodybuilding, and it was my first love and everything. So I committed myself to it, and I knew what it took to make weight for wrestling. I thought, you know, this is easy for me. But that was tough. You know, as far as you asked me, what do I do now to make weight? You know, to be honest, I have been able to just barely make it the last couple of years. Thank God. I don't know how. I think my coach is just pretty good like that. He knows what to do to make sure I'm making weight. But
you must be eating dust or something in the last couple of days.
I'm eating nothing but protein and veggies.
Fuck.
Yeah, and just not a ton of cardio, but 2 cardio sessions a day and training every day and very little calories. Just squeezing in to the 212.
That's mad. We spoke to Kamal, didn't we? And he said that he doesn't have a problem making weight. He stays light like all the time.
Yeah.
And like, so he's just like there, like dialing it in like a touch. I mean, he didn't like fill us with anything inside. But when we posed a kind of a similar question, he was like, well, what's making weight? I just weigh that. It's like,
no, mine, every year I've competed, I've had to really work hard to make weight, except the first year. The first year it didn't matter. I just came in as like it was under 160, under 160 pounds as a welterweight. And so we were just like, hey, let's just be our best. But then after that, as a middleweight, it was hard to make weight. I was about 180. And then as a light heavy the next year, it was very hard for me to make weight. And then after that, it's been hard for me to make 212. So
it's like literally so surreal from one bodybuilder to another. You're like, they're going, oh shit, I accidentally put all this mass on. I'm already too massive. I just got more massive again.
20 pounds a year, like.
Yeah, oh god damn it, another 7 pounds of sheer mass.
Yeah, dude. So yeah, you know, I tell you what, man. I went really, really hard the first. I mean, well, I have not stopped. Let's be honest. The last since I started bodybuilding, since I said I'm going to be a bodybuilder, I have not laid off the gas pedal in terms of training and living the lifestyle. But it was nice the last couple of years. I was able to take a small trip to the Philippines to visit with my fiance's family and just, you know, live a little bit of normal life. But you know, because I'm in the 212, I've been able to take a little bit of time in my off season and just kind of just chill out and be kind of normal, which is cool, you know, especially mentally. That's great knowing I don't have to put on another 15 pounds of tissue. But, you know, going back to, you know, his question earlier, if I'm ever going to go open, man, dude, I'm more motivated than anything to get in the gym, train hard, get stronger, gain more muscle, and shape my physique. But I just, I discipline my mind and I got to take care of business, you know?
I love that. I'll just take some time off the gym just in case I put on too much muscle.
It's like literally the only version of, you know, when that little fucker comes up to you and goes, yeah, like, how do I get like you? Like, I don't want to be like as big as you, like, you know, just a bit. It's like, it's okay, you're not going to be as big, like, accidentally, but Derrick probably could accidentally just like, I woke up and I was just enormous. Fuck.
You know, I don't know, man. I need the gym, man. I'm not myself if I'm not in the gym. I mean, you could probably relate to that too, you know. Even in my off season, I almost have to force myself. That's another reason why I go to the Philippines, is because, you know, there's very, very few gyms there, you know. There's mostly hotel gyms, if anything. You know, I'll still work out while I'm there, but I almost have to do that to force myself away from the gym and the normal diet, because I don't feel right not being a bodybuilder for a minute, you know. It's kind of crazy, kind of a psycho type mentality.
You gotta be nuts. You gotta be nuts.
Yeah.
Anyone who says this is normal, #balance, #fuck off,
Yeah.
you can't run a normal fucking life on this shit.
Nah,
mate.
No,
and anyone who says that is just chatting bollocks.
I do my best to be normal as much as I can, which is why I do allow my weight to go up a little bit. Because, like I said, if my weight falls under 240 to 245, I start losing some energy, you know, and that's kind of where I've been at the last few weeks. But that's why, you know, being 245, 250, or even a little heavier, I feel more normal, you know, and I am able to train and have fun and do normal people stuff, which is great. But once the diet's locked down, the prep's going, there's nothing. I do nothing. I eat, sleep, train. I'm a monk, you know.
I think we need to tell them the secret to being Derrick Lunsford and being so massive is pokey. Wait, I don't think we have pokey at home, do we?
Dude, how many times have we eaten sushi, bro? Or pokey?
Do we have pokey at home?
There's a couple of pokies that came up, but it's basically just sushi and a bowl of rice, isn't it? Really, it's like unwrapped sushi.
Derrick's fucking bowl is like this.
The secret is you got to get 2 orders, man.
Always.
Or a big bowl.
Always.
Yeah. I think if I were to be my best and were to be open, I think I'll be about probably closer to 280 in my off season, 275 or so, 280, and then I'll come down to 240.
I can't wait to see the transformation pictures of when you actually just say, fuck it, everything. Like, feed me everything. After like just putting the brake on for that many years, I reckon it's going to be nasty. It's going to make
it was nice for a couple years, just relaxing and being in the 212, you know. But again, like I said, I'm not saying I'm going open anytime soon. I just said I'm motivated to go open and to work even harder to grow more muscle and be stronger. But, you know, competitively and business wise and for everybody, it's exciting for me to be in the 212, especially having other guys, you know, knocking on that door of getting that 212 title. You know, you got George the Bull, who just won the Tampa Pro. You got Kamal, who
he's
won
not Mr. Olympia, though, is he, Derrick? Come on.
You know, hey.
No way.
You got several other good guys, too. But, yeah, man, I don't know. While I'm in the 212, I want to make it as exciting as possible. And so I'm busting my ass to be my best in the 212.
No, it's got to suck, though. That's got to suck. Like, at the end of the day, literally, you're putting the reins on. And you know what I mean? Ultimately, but all the gains you make, you're still going to have to make 212. That's got to suck to think, ultimately, that you may be undoing some of that work, you know?
I will tell you this, man. I actually just had a conversation with my coach yesterday. I told him, I said, man, it is hard mentally going into the gym. Not mentally, it's not hard for me to go and train hard, but it is hard for me to know that, you know, I could be maximizing more progress if I were to not have a cap on my weight. So it is imagine this, right? Like this is what you have to imagine is that, you know, imagine you go into the gym and you put your fucking life on the line during a hack squat set, right? Or anything for that matter. But you go in, you give everything you possibly can until you hit the floor. And you know, you're like, okay, if I gain, you know, I need to keep my weight in a certain range, and I can't put on too much more muscle, but I still have to train this hard. It does mentally kind of suck.
Okay, so if you do one rep too much, you accidentally put on like 8 pounds of muscle.
No, no, I wouldn't say that. What I'm saying is you're training every bit as hard as if you were trying to put on more muscle tissue and just keep growing, keep getting stronger, keep being better. But you have to keep the nutrition on point and the cardio on point to where you don't grow much more. You just get better at that same weight.
I totally
That's kind of
that would be a complete head fuck. I mean, it's like
it is. It's tough, you know.
I mean, it's comparable, but not the same as like if you're taking like a pullback or whatever, or doing like you're going to the gym, but you can't go hard and you have to like save a bit, or like you're doing a deload. It's like I'd rather just not fucking go.
Yeah.
Well, when you see what happens is you go, Derrick, do one more rep. And he's like, I can't. My arms have grown another inch.
I don't say that, man. Come on now. You make me look bad.
I'm joking.
This is still such a surreal problem that I must say I've never had a conversation like this. No, I just don't want to get too much. Can't get too massive. Can't like. It's just this is totally new ground for me. This is a complete like I can't quite understand. It's like a vortex. I feel like it's too much.
So, you know, I guess what it is, like the first few years of me bodybuilding, I did put on a massive amount of muscle tissue very quickly. You know, just think to yourself, you know, you go to the gym and you do all these hard sets because like, man, I'm going to grow, I'm going to get bigger. But for me, it's like, no, I have to remain the same weight and just get better here. I'm not really going to maximize my results by adding in more food and recovering more and growing muscle tissue. I'm not really trying to grow a substantial amount of muscle tissue, but I am giving every bit of effort. So there is a mental game to this too.
The thing is that, go on.
Sorry, mate. I was asking, do you think like even though you've got a cap, you can still like run that like maturity, the holding out? You are developing like in a way like thickness, you know, the shape of like, you know, so it is doing something. But I totally get you. Like when I'm like going in the gym and I've got to go and fucking maybe ping a kneecap off doing a hack squat, like I'm thinking I'm going to get massive. This is going to make me massive. That's what I'm thinking.
So that now you get it. Now you understand.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And that's the most relatable to me because yesterday is when I trained legs. But anyway, so yeah, for right now, my goal is to pick apart my physique. Where especially can I get better? Where do I especially need to get better? So there's certain body parts that I've decided, okay, I need to get these better and just focus on them a little bit more. You know, maybe the first couple years, I was trying to grow. I was training everything very hard, very intense, but really focusing, you know, on my back and maybe my quads, and they grew a little bit faster than everything else did. Whereas now I can go, okay, what about these smaller body parts, the lagging body parts that aren't so etched out and aren't so superior? Now I can just transition my mindset in the gym to focusing more time and effort and days on these other body parts and just getting those better and getting used to training those muscles that have been a little bit more neglected than the other ones. So that has been the change, I guess, in training, if there has been anything.
Would there be a time where you would sacrifice a stronger muscle because it would be better used elsewhere? I've often wondered that, like whether you'd be like, well, these, you know, like my delts are too powerful. Maybe I'd like, you know, give them a rest for a minute and see if I can move that somewhere else.
Yes and no. First of all, I've tried to keep a pretty balanced physique anyway, even as 140, 150 pounds. So as I've grown, I've tried to grow consistently, you know, very balanced. But I will say that, you know, I don't just throw a body part to the side and say, oh, I'm not going to do it because I can't grow it. No, I still need to keep the blood flowing in there. I still need to keep the muscle strong. So I do definitely continue to train it, and I can be more specific and say something like my back or my quads. You know, those have been a little bit more superior to my other body parts, and have been, you know, more superior than a lot of the other competitors in the 212 as well. So, you know, as long as I can maintain that size and density in my quads and my back, maybe I can focus a little bit more on, you know, my biceps or my chest or hamstrings and glutes, you know, or calves. I can pick apart these body parts and just kind of put a little bit more attention on them is all.
Mad. Conceptual ideas come out today. Fucking a roast in my brain.
I think it just comes back to the thing that we discussed before, Dan. It's just genetics, you know. Derrick's one of the genetic elite, and I mean,
Derrick's body does not want to be this small.
No,
free him, free the body, Derrick.
He does still work very hard too, though. Like, you know.
Oh, there's no doubt in that.
I'm not saying nothing.
What's
like
that?
I'm not saying nothing like that. I'm
saying that you still train and work really hard. Like,
that's not what you said the other day to me.
What's the report on Ryan? What's your feedback? Like, pretend he wasn't here. Yeah, tell us your thoughts.
Does he go hard?
Better than nothing.
What's your thoughts, Der? What's your thoughts on Ryan?
Oh, my thoughts. I thought you meant Ryan's thoughts on me.
No.
Here we go. I think he needs to bring up his glutes.
now you've been looking.
See, now you wonder where I get it from.
Nah, man, I'm actually very proud of Ryan, man. He's put on a good amount of muscle tissue, and like we said earlier, or I said earlier, I said, you know, I didn't know if his upper body and everything just grew more, which made his waist smaller, if he actually has been working on bringing that waist in, but it definitely his shape's gotten tremendously better, and I'm really excited to see the amount of muscle he put on from the last show to this one, you know, because even before me and Ryan were friends living here in Tampa, I was always following his progress from years before that. So yeah, man, he's gonna be tough as nails. He's gonna be a big dude on stage, that's for sure. What are you weighing right now, Ryan?
I was 290 this morning. So last week I was 296, but I was 290.
And I seen your newest pictures on IG, dude. You're getting lean, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully. You look a lot less fucked than when you first started, like with Milos. You were like, come on, like a week of Milos. You look like you'd been crying for like hours, like your eyes out here. And you're just like the food.
He sat there with his insulin.
Just so much insulin. You're like in despair. Like I almost felt sorry for you for a second, but you look like you caught up with it. You look a lot better.
Obviously, again, you know, though, isn't it? Like, obviously, being around the 300-pound mark, I really feel like me dipping from 290 to 315 is really, like, in terms of how I personally feel all day is massively different. Like, right now, I feel so small and skinny.
Yeah, but it's better. It's better. 300 plus is disgusting. It's just a horrible existence. It's just a sweaty red mess. I can't. It's fucking horrible. I have to like throw hook my shoes on to like get near them, or do like breathing exercise. If I take too long doing them up, I come up like
slip-ons.
Mate, it's disgusting. I'd go full Jordan Peters and just wear flip-flops.
Isn't this the weird thing is, right? It's like, I feel like when I look at myself, I sound really heavy, but I look really small. As where Derrick sounds really light, but just looks fucking massive.
Yeah. Hollow
bones. We give too much credit. I ain't that big.
When we're together, people are like, "Oh, how are you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm like 300." They're like, "Yeah, he's like 235." I'm like, "He's like twice the size of me."
It's not
man, we need to get a good training session in, man, soon.
Yeah, of course. I see you doing filming stuff with what's that guy? PCS guy. That looks good stuff.
Oh yeah, he's good. Phil.
Yeah,
he's good.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he took some.
The word on the street is you've been ditching me in a train with some bikini girl though.
Oh.
Yeah, well, that's a fact.
That's okay, I guess.
Well, somebody's gone a bit red.
Yeah, that's made the veins.
Look at the head veins.
Mate, never ever like murder.
I just had a heart attack.
Yeah, Ryan, you don't need a lie detector ever.
Mate, never end up in jail.
All in the face. All in the face.
Mate, if you're in court ever, like never get caught.
You're bugs.
Just don't do anything illegal. You'd be
It's like a wife. Yes, it was me.
Yeah, yes, it was me.
You could pin that, right? You could pin that.
Mate, that's fun.
Oh.
How heavy do you think Ryan's head is in pounds? That's the key question.
We had a guess from the doctor. We had a doctor on last week. He had a good guess. But when we cut it off, whoever wins, there's like a prize or something, like at the fair.
Jesus Christ. I can't tell you in pounds or in kilos, but I can tell you it's way too damn big for his body, that's for sure.
Ryan, you're out of proportion, mate.
Yeah, you've been working too hard on your face and that. You've got to, like, you know, if Derrick can bring down everything, just this area.
Ryan's gonna hate me after this one, man. He's gonna ask himself why he even invited me on this.
I've never actually. So until I had a MRI and a few scans recently, and I was talking to the guy about how much the head weighs, and he said between 10 and 12 pounds normally. He reckons mine is between. He said that mine's between 20 and 25. Great.
No way. Are you for real?
Did you just Did you openly give us that information?
That's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Mate,
why would you do that?
That's got to be the opener. That's the opener for the episode. It's got to be.
Ryan's 25-pound skull.
25-pound cranium.
I wish I was better at this video editing. I could make his head go into like a balloon.
He also was telling me that because of that, he reckons that relates to the fact that he's saying that in terms of like skeletal muscle and muscle, he thinks that because that's so much more than like the average head, that he thinks that I can grow so much bigger. I'm like, that's what I want to hear, bro.
Silver lining.
Well,
imagine you were skinny though. You'd look like a fucking lollipop if you were skinny. Like, give the smile.
Mate, Ryan, you're arming us to the teeth today.
What's the first?
Ow, man.
You look like Jedward.
That was my first show. I think my head's bigger.
Both of Jedward morphed together to make Ryan.
I remember speaking to you at that show.
The head's bigger than the body, right?
Yeah, it's the whole thing.
Hey, you know, no disrespect to who I'm about to bring up, but did you guys see at the Tampa Pro Show the amateur bodybuilder who won?
Bro,
his name's Hector, and he's under 5 foot.
He's like 4 incredible.
He looks and dude, he trains hard. And obviously he has some medical conditions, and I know he was on another he was on another podcast, YouTube interview, and he was talking about his conditions and stuff and how he trains and this and that. And dude, mad respect to that guy.
He lives in Orlando, right?
He looks so good too. It's crazy.
But the thing is, without the context of a scale, he just looks like a great bodybuilder.
Right, I know.
Like it's like nothing's out of proportion, and
I don't think I've ever seen anyone with a physique like it.
No,
like even his hamstrings and his back, it was incredible.
But how does that work for him, though? He got his pro card, didn't he?
No.
Yeah. It's not a pro qualifier, but
it's pro qualifier.
It's a prestigious show here for amateurs. Obviously, it's this pro-am show, but it's not a pro qualifier. I briefly spoke to him backstage. I just told him, I said, "You look unbelievable, man." And he was just, said thanks or whatever. That was about it. But yeah, that's it.
Did you speak English, Derrick?
Yeah, I mean, he has a little bit of an accent, but yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
So where does he go from there, though, isn't it? Where does he go from there?
That's what I was just about to say.
What's his category?
Classic.
He was classic.
He did classic and bodybuilding. He won both overalls.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know he did bodybuilding. Oh,
yeah. Dude, he won it.
Because the photo you put up, he had the classic trunks, but I didn't see those shots, actually. I only saw the bodybuilding trunks.
I do wonder. I wonder how much he weighs, because that means he'd be put in like a lightweight class, right? And then like he looks like so dense and big, but for his height, he'd probably just always win, right?
He's killing the bantamweight class, no question.
Oh, that's the class he's in, yeah.
Yeah, dude, I've seen one of his training videos. He squats like 315 or something.
Well, I think you see a lot of these guys, and I've seen them. We've got some British guys as well, with the disabled classes and stuff like that. Bodybuilding it isn't, for me, about like necessarily like being the same as everyone else. It's about finding your limits and fucking them up. It's about applying yourself beyond where you think you can go, and if you can find a place with that in competition and stuff like that. But that's not really what it's about for me. It's about what I can do in the gym. It's about finding those limits, and to be able to go in the gym against adversity like that, or disability or anything like that, mate, that's mad props.
What makes it more amazing is that the disabled guys have a disabled class. That guy went into the open class against the guys who have no disadvantages and still wiped the floor with all of them.
Yeah, but the fella just thinking about it mentally, like you said, like, do you know what I mean? He had a dream and nothing stopped him, man. Nothing stopped him. And every fucker, I bet, on the way in said, nah, you can't do that.
Yeah. Guaranteed.
And he said, fuck you, man.
You know, I want to bring up something, though. You said something about what bodybuilding means to you. And something I'm realizing myself, man, is that bodybuilding has changed for me in the past few years. You know, everybody can comment here if they like what got them into the sport. But for me, as I was saying earlier, you know, I come from a wrestling background. I love competition. I've always been into sports. So I came into it as a competitor. That was my mentality. I want to beat everybody, you know, and I want to be the best. Since then, my mentality has shifted to what I told you earlier, is that I just want people to know that I'm, you know, if I get anything from other people, it's more just like simple respect. Hey, that dude gives everything to be his best. And then I do. I do that, and I want to present something great. And then the competition it's still there, right? But my mentality went from being strictly a competitor to, hey, I'm here to sculpt my physique the best that I can, and then put that on stage to compete against whoever else has sculpted their physique. So my mindset has shifted just a little bit. I don't know about you guys. How you got into the sport, where your mentality is as a bodybuilder, but
I mean, I don't know. I've never been competitive at all, because I was banned from all sports as a child. And
too much fucking cocaine, wasn't it, or ecstasy?
Well, I think I did go to school from when I was 4, so I did leave it a few years before I started chasing the dragon around. But yeah,
it was about eight hit the white monster.
Yeah. I was never competitive. I don't consider myself competitive either. I find it hard to be competitive in bodybuilding because of its subjective angle. And so that's what I struggle with. Like in a fight, like, or whatever, or wrestling or something, there's usually quite a clear, definitive winner. You know, there is always like a slightly gray area in bodybuilding. And the way that, I don't know, I see it, I mean, I'm nowhere near any of your level or whatever, like, but I'm going to create what I can do, and hopefully it's like good enough to beat someone else, even if it's not necessarily what they were looking for. And that's kind of it, really. You got to play to your genetics as well. I'm not a nice lines like bodybuilder. There's no point me playing like that full muscle belly kind of game. I'm just bringing fucking nasty and hoping it's enough. Like, but yeah, like I'm definitely not a champion mindset. I'm just like got into training to save life.
Well, you know, that's actually a really great mentality that I've had to shift from, you know, the competitor in me to, hey, you're more of that type of mentality of sculpting your physique and playing to your advantages. But I guess that competitor still comes out in me, and I do love to compete, and I do want to win shows. As I said earlier, I'm not trying to place anything less than first at any show. But I guess what's cool about the competition now, before it was, I want to beat every single one of you. Now it's more or less like, okay, this guy's got a really good body part here, and I need to be able to at least match it on my physique. So if I need to bring up this body part and that would to match this guy, well, then I need to make sure that that also flows with my physique as well. So that's the way I look at it. And if maybe yours is, I don't have the nice lines. Well, okay, how do you create better lines in your physique to be able to be more competitive if that's what they're looking for? Which I think that's kind of what Ryan's been doing in the last year or so, is like, he's like, all right, I need to get my waist smaller, but I also need to get bigger. And doing so, he did both. So for me, I use the competition as a motivator in terms of, hey, I need to get better here. You know, because if nobody, you know, has a great body, if nobody has a great back, why does anybody need to have a great back? It doesn't matter. You're not competing against backs at that point. But hey, one guy's back starts to get better than another guy's, well, then the other guy has to step it up and be better himself. So I think that's what's great about the competition in my mind now, is that it's not, hey, I'm here to just take you out. It's like, thank you for making me better because you're pushing me to be better.
You do that then? Do you analyze like the people you know you're going to see and take it from there? Because that's probably a pro thing, because you know who the top guys are and they keep coming back. You know, in the amateur game, there's fuck all point doing that because you have no idea who's coming to any show.
Well, I think it can apply to anybody, right? Because when I was an amateur, when I was a real small guy, 100 pounds lighter, I was looking up to guys like Jay Cutler. I'm like, damn, he's got a good back. You know, like look how wide his back is. I need how does he train his back? I need to get mine to get closer to that. You know, I look at like someone else that has a nice chest. I'm like, man, okay, how does he train his chest to get like that? Again, you know, genetics apply, right?
And now you're in the mix. Now you're actually in the mix. Whereas like, obviously we all look at the greats, and now you're actually there. Like, and you've got to match them because you're actually going to be there, rather than me flicking through flex going, oh, I'd quite like to look like.
So I think as bodybuilders, as competitors, maybe at my level, I think you know, the most complete bodybuilder should win the show, right? And that's you know, there's criteria for what that means, right? There's size, conditioning, dryness, hardness, separation, you know, balance, all of that, right? Presentation. So if you start to pick apart people's body parts, right? And you say, okay, this guy's got really good arms. Okay, well, I want to at least be able to hang with this guy on arms, right? Because he has the best arms that's going to be on stage. I have to hang with his arms. Okay, this guy has the best legs on stage. I have to be able to at least be able to compare and be just fine standing next to him with great legs. So I pick apart, I look at every individual that's going to be on the Olympia stage next to me and go, okay, this is he's the best in this area. I have to be able to match that. And then I'll go on to the other guy and say, I have to match his back or his legs or his arms. And so when I put that on myself with a streamlined physique, my genetics, it's like, okay, as long as I can hang with everybody and be the most complete all around, I'll be the champ, because I'm going to put the work in. I'm going to be conditioned. And this year I'm going to be dry as hell, and we're going to walk away with the title. So that's the way I think of my competition. And, you know, may the best man win. I'll be a gracious winner. I'll always be a gracious loser. Either way, I've always said that. I always will be that. So there's nothing I can do to someone else to prevent them from being their best. I can try and be an asshole and play mind games. This is not me, man. I don't do that kind of stuff. If anything, I actually just messaged a couple of my competitors the other day and said, hey man, like, you know, you deserve, I said, you know, we haven't talked before, but I said, you deserve every bit of PR that you've been getting recently, you know? And I said, you have put the work in, you have a phenomenal physique, and, you know, all the best to you, man. Congrats for all the recognition you're getting. And he just said, you know, thanks, you know, and see you in December. So
you accidentally fucked his mind.
Yeah. I don't play mind games, but I message them and tell them they look great.
Yeah, I tell them they look great, and they're going, oh my God, Derrick just messaged me, said I look great. Does that mean I look shit?
I can have a cookie.
That could be a mind fuck for people. I don't know, man. But the thing is, man, once you get to know me, man, what you see is what you get, you know? And then I try to just be the best way I can be, man. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm not trying to be nothing other than just me, man, you know? So Ryan could vouch for that.
This is what I was just about to elaborate on that. It's just, I feel like, obviously, I guess I do it, these guys do it as well, is you see people like that we look up to on social media and you think that, okay, most of them are obviously a bit different in real life to what you see on social media. But I also think that, like, we think they're on this pedestal in terms of, like, they're not going to talk to us, they won't reply to us, all this sort of shit, right? But I think this is something crazy. It's like when the Tampa Pro was on, me and Derrick were just fucking walking around, and like he's just chatting to people, and people are like, it's just like he's not even Mr. Olympia. You know, like that's the crazy.
I think that's a leaf everybody takes out of like Flex Lewis's book.
Yes,
like, you know, to be a successful bodybuilder, especially at that level, you have to be quite personal and quite, you know, you can't just pretend or fake it, because those guys, they tend, you know, they don't get a very good reception. I'm not gonna lie, I've had like bad experiences with like Sean Roden. I met him at an expo before. He literally couldn't have got me away from him as quick as, you know, any quicker than he tried. But then you sit and speak to Flex, and he remembers the last time we spoke. Every time we get talking, he remembers the last conversation we had. He's probably met like 2 million people since then. But I think that goes a long way. So I mean, ultimately, the more successful ones, you look at Jay Cutler, you know, sort of, don't get me wrong, back when he was at his pinnacle, he probably was a little bit less interpersonal, but sort of now, you know, he's very out there, and he's putting himself out there a lot, very open, you know, sort of receptive.
I'll say a couple of things on that is that, you know, you are right for the most part. You know, my relationship with everyone that I met has changed. You know, they've not all changed, but some of them have changed. Like, you know, I might have met a certain pro bodybuilder as an amateur, and I was quite disappointed. And then I got to know them now, and they're cool, right? They're cool with me. So, and then there's some guys where I'm like, whoa, this guy was super cool. And then now it's like, why are you, now I'm your competitor, why are you being that way to me? You know, I mean, obviously that's the reason, right? Like I'm a threat. So now, you know, we have problems, I guess. But, you know, so everybody's interaction is going to be different depending on who you are and what the time frame is. And you know what, you got to give it to these bodybuilders too sometimes, because yes, we're all professionals, but a lot of these guys, I mean, I'm not making an excuse for myself, because I don't try to do this, but sometimes, you know, guys just are so depleted. You know how you feel 2 weeks out from a show, 4 weeks out from a show, or even the weekend of a show, and you're just like, Jesus Christ. So I have to at least give the benefit of the doubt to some of the bodybuilders I have met who, as an amateur, for example, before I got into the sport, and I was like, hey, you know, can I get a picture or something? And maybe they weren't what I was hoping for, right? So you kind of have to give them the benefit of the doubt that, like, dude, these are bodybuilders. These are the best in the world bodybuilders who are on a diet, and they feel like garbage. They don't even have enough energy to hardly talk to you, and you expect the most from them. So sometimes I think people could cut a break to some of these guys. But then again, at the same time, is you have to understand too, like, you know, that's why I mentioned myself, like as an amateur, I might've met someone and they were super cool. And then all of a sudden, you know, I become a pro with them, an Olympic competitor with them, and it changes, that relationship changes, or vice versa. Maybe I had a bad interaction and as an amateur, and then I get to know them and you know, it was just a bad day they had, and we're cool now, you know, or whatever.
I used to feel sorry for them. I don't know whether Sean Roden you met at Body Power in 2012, Ryan. Johnny, sorry. But yeah, like I don't know, when they were doing the expos and thing, I'm thinking like some of these guys standing there at 300 pounds, they've been stood up for like fucking 20 hours. Like I used to feel, and also if you're on prep, you know, you're on prep, like you're like 2 weeks out, everything's cool, you get about 2 weeks in, and then you walk in and someone's like, hey, you on prep? And you're like, oh my God, fuck off. Do you know what I mean?
I get it.
Imagine that like all day, every day. Like,
yeah, but these guys are getting paid to do that, you know? So that's the difference. The difference is that, like, you're not standing there for a tub of protein, so you're gonna resent every man that comes to speak to you. Like, these guys, it's their job. And whilst I appreciate to a degree, right, there's going to be, you know, different experiences based on how that person's feeling, etc., and how long of a day they've had. Like, I hate people. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do that job. Like, but
yeah.
but I would never put myself in that position.
you're totally right with the whole it's your job thing, but at the end of the day, you're a professional, man. Like you should know you signed up for this when you competed and became a pro and you went to the Olympia. Like, you got to know that there's a certain responsibility that you carry by being a professional, right? So that's the way I look at it. And that is our opportunity to lead the next generation and how people view bodybuilding and bodybuilders, right? Because so, I mean, we are the representatives of bodybuilding, you know, around the world. So we need to be able to make sure that we're making the best effort to represent well, regardless of getting paid or not. But, you know, obviously that does play a role.
Sean Roden was incredibly rude to me as well. So don't worry, Johnny. It wasn't. I remember.
Crazy thing is, I had the same experience too, but like now I personally know him. He's so chill and like it's just like he's stoned all the time. He's just like, yeah, bro.
He's just very quiet and very just what's up, you know? So
because I read his story, because he had like a horrendous like backstory and stuff. His like sister was like murdered or something. It was I read like a thing, and he had like a real like horrible time, and he struggled with like alcoholism and stuff, and like I read a huge article and stuff, and so I was just like, hey, like amazing what you've, and he was just like
yeah, man, I actually didn't know that. And one more thing is that, you know, everybody's human though too, man. Everybody. And going back to what Ryan said earlier, is that everybody already thinks that everybody's put on a pedestal. Everybody's just larger than life figure, this out of this world kind of human being, right? And not even a human being. It just this thought, anyway. And at the end of the day, man, we're just people, right? And
good days and bad days.
Good days, bad days, and you don't even know like what is somebody like? What's somebody's upbringing? What is somebody going through? What if somebody's like dealing with some serious depression and you don't even know it? And like, you know what I mean? People are human, and you know, I'm not saying that, you know, people's interactions that were bad aren't justified. You know, I think that there's some situation where like, man, that guy was just being a total dick. But then again, you just don't know what's going on in other people's lives. So, you know, if you yourself, you know, talk about myself, can just, you know, just be open-minded and just try to be as understanding as you possibly can. That, you know, everybody might be going through something you don't even know.
Mm. Yeah. Do you remember that in all the magazines there was the Roden transformation? Do you remember? There was all the magazines. He looked
the 08 to 18.
Like, yeah, it was like absolute shit.
That's crazy.
Like, yeah, that was mad. Although actually Roden, like, well, remember when he did that guest spot as well, and everyone like hated him.
The one.
I was like, oh, fuck off! He just won Olympia. Like, he can get up looking like shit if he wants. Who cares? Sign an autograph. And then, and then he just turned it on. I thought it was amazing. But I always remember that thread in the magazine of like absolute dog shit. And then, like, I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake, man! I've not even got to the dog shit bit. I'm like,
I still can't get there.
I remember that. I was devastated at that image. Still upsets me.
So, open class, Derrick. Thoughts?
Well,
Open class this year. What's your thoughts? What's the result going to be?
I think I just, this is just, I'm throwing it out there. If everybody's at their best, I'm gonna say it's gonna be a Brandon Phil show. And I say that it's going to be a Flex and Hunter show. So I think, and you can never take anything away from, you know, Dexter. Dexter is going to be right up there, you know, possibly top 3, I would say. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't think people realize how good Hunter was.
Here's my thought. As an honest, like, this is just my belief. It's subjective, right? I think Hunter can push Flex, but I don't think Flex can push like Brandon or Phil, personally.
Okay. Well, obviously last year the shorter guys did well, but there was no there was nobody like Phil to come and challenge Brandon, I suppose. So they were left obviously with Bonac and Hardy, who were both obviously, they were all very similar sort of structures, weren't they? So it'd be interesting to see what Phil and Brandon look
and
like.
This is just, that's just me, you know, off the top of my head, just spitting out some names and thoughts. You know, like I said, like I go, oh, Dexter, oh, William Bonac. It's like, man, you know, the more you start thinking about the lineup, it's like, man, it's going to be a hell of a show, man.
Anyone seen that recent photo of Evan Centopani as well?
Oh, dude, he's looking awesome, right?
Is he? He's
I'm
doing
so
New York,
excited
right?
He's a good dude.
New
I
York.
like him.
Is he doing New
He
York?
wanted to do it in New York, but now that it's in Tampa, he said he might not do it or something. But I don't know. I can't imagine someone getting in shape and then saying, no, I'm not going to do it. But then again, hey, he has his own reasons why, and I don't know. I haven't talked to him about it.
The Olympias, with there's the European show in the Ryan. You probably know this. I can't remember where it fucking is, but they're giving top 3.
Spain,
Spain show, yeah.
Yeah, in Spain. So about to hit up like some UK guys probably as well in the mix. It's going to be stacked. It's going to be stacked.
What they've said is, because obviously it's still uncertain about whether they can get into the US. If they, so the top 3 can still go next year. So if they can't get in this year, they'll honor it next year as well. So
that's pretty cool.
So I answered my top picks. What about you guys? What do you think? Go totally against me for all I care. I don't care. That's just my.
I don't see anyone touching Phil. No. I think he's on a mission. I don't see anyone touching him, and I think maybe if people take their eyes off Bonac for 2 seconds, he might pit Brandon. But I think it'll be between them two for second and third, and then like you said, then is sort of the Flex and Labrada sort of battle then to round out the top 5.
I don't think. Yeah, I think unless Phil's done something really different and really weird, I can't see that falling. And then I think it's Bonac second, and then a few in the mixes up with Roden and Curry a little bit along the way.
But will Bonac be able to go though? That's the thing.
Well, that's true.
So he might not even be there. So that might put Flex up for 4th, 3rd. So I don't know.
Yeah, I hadn't even considered. The reason I still I'm in an iron. Flex said he was going to do the Open for the last 4 years and not done it. So I'm like,
he's definitely doing it.
I'm still like, I don't know. I'm still wary of something.
I have to support him being Welsh.
So. Did you watch the video of him on Jay Cutler TV the other day? He looks fucking big, but he's like trying to retain his weight. Obviously, you can see he's even got like rolls on the back of his head where he's just like heavy. He's like, you can see he's struggling to walk. He's fucking big.
Mm. Well, then, so that's, I mean, he lives there as well, so he would be okay. Fuck knows, man. Fuck knows. I mean, there's been some weird moves the past couple of years in the Opens. There's been some strange, things. There hasn't been anyone, clearly going to be holding on to it for a while since Phil. It'd be good to see Phil come back and grab it. Like I said, unless he's fucked something up, I can't see any more than that.
I can't see there being a worse version of Phil because he's 2 years off. I know he was doing a lot of business and all that. I mean, there's no way that it's been so long that it's going to negatively affect him. I think, if anything, it's just going to make him better, unless he's still having a problem with his waist.
No, supposedly that's the best it's ever been, since 2011. So if that's the case, that's dangerous. I know that he could just claim that, but there's been people that have seen it in person and said that. So
well, we'd find out soon enough, wouldn't he? If it was it's the best I've ever seen. He comes out, it's it's probably no point painting an illusion that's going to get found out that quickly.
Yeah,
it's not like lying about your penis size to people on Instagram, is it? Oh, there's 12 inches, and then just sending someone else's dick pic. You're going to get found out, aren't you?
That's what
Are we going to do the 5 top tips? Because we're probably on Derrick's time limit.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah,
good, man.
So every week we ask whoever we've got in to just give 5 top tips on. It can be bodybuilding related. It can not be bodybuilding related. Whatever. Just a lot of people. You're still real young.
Life advice.
You're still really young. So some of the older ones had kind of like if I was to go back or whatever. But you'd only have to go back like 3 years, and you'd only started. So,
wait, before he answers them, you have to. On here, we kind of like to dive into a lot of mental health as well. So, I think those 5 tips should be something that I'd say for you in the last 5 years has helped you grow a lot as a bodybuilder, as a person, and just your life general view.
You know, I actually have to be honest and say this is going to be very tough for me even to get 5 that's off the top of my head. It's more in conversation, right? Like if you ask me a question and I I have a thought that comes to my mind that I truly believe in, then I can answer that better.
Do you have five principles that you live by? Anything?
They don't even have to be serious. It could be like never hold in a fart or something. It's like we're not that bothered. It's just to like round it off a bit, really.
Yeah, man. I guess one thing that I've learned recently, right, is to take what other people say with a grain of salt, right? So, I would get real excited when people would say something positive about me, but I'd get kind of down on myself when things weren't going my way, right? So taking things with a grain of salt is very important. That way you don't get too high or get too low on yourself, which kind of brings me to the second thing. I think one of the best things that I learned it actually in wrestling, and I kind of forgot about it until recently, was I guess the word equanimity. If you're not familiar, then that's just, to me, what that means is just more kind of just being even keel, just kind of Zen-like almost. Don't get too high, get too low. Don't get too excited. Don't get too discouraged. Just be more happy and content. And for me in the past, I would say that, someone telling me to be just happy and content and good, that would not have been good enough for me. I would have said, no, let's be great. Let's, be extra. But I think sometimes when we're headed in that direction of extra or expect something more, sometimes we can be let down. So I think just being kind of even keel and good and content and happy all the time is something great. Being very Zen-like. Number 3, since my fiance is sitting here, happy wife, happy life.
You had to get that in there. You had to get that in there.
Of course, man.
Brownie points.
Well, I'll say this, man, is that number 4, right? Something I've always believed in is that everybody's heard it. If you believe it, you can achieve it. If you dream it, you can become it. I found that in a fortune cookie when I was a freshman in high school as a wrestler, and I believed in it ever since. I wrote it everywhere. And I wrote it in my school yearbook in high school. I wrote it in college. I've lived by that my entire life. I've always thought, somebody in the world has to be the best. Somebody has to be great at something. So why not me, right? So I believe if you believe it, you can achieve it. If you dream it, you can become it. And you have to 100%, no questions asked, believe in yourself before anybody else will ever believe in you or you'll ever accomplish anything. So if people tell you to check your ego or you're too confident or you're cocky or blah, 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 maybe you're verbally saying things that you could just keep to yourself. It's okay to go into the gym and say, hey, everybody, I'm going to be a bodybuilder. And then you go and do it. That's great. That's not being cocky. It's not being arrogant or having an ego. It's saying, hey, this is my goals. And then you go do it. You don't say, I'm the best bodybuilder ever, and you've not done a show before or something like that. So believe in yourself and don't be discouraged by people trying to bring you down to earth, because if you're trying to achieve something extraordinary, then it's going to be out of this world mentality. So, and let me see here. Number 5. Why are you gonna give me? Can I do 4?
I feel like something
pretty good. To be fair, I was definitely on that one. I thought it was a little
something we both agree on a lot, Derrick, is that quote of God gave you this life because you're the only one that can handle it. We've both reposted that a lot.
Right, man. That's right, man. We're all put on earth for a purpose, right? And so if we can identify what that purpose is that was given by God, I believe that our passions typically come from what we're good at. our calling and our passion comes from what we're good at and what we like, right? So, and what we like, we're typically good at. And I think that natural talent and that passion comes from God, which opens up the door to what our calling is. And for me, my calling was to be a professional bodybuilder, an Olympic competitor, you know, just being in the sport, right? But I don't know that was 100% my purpose on earth. I think my purpose was to use bodybuilding to shine a light for Christ and let people know about my Christian faith, right? So to be used by God. So I think that if we can define what we like and what we're passionate about, what we're good at, then we can find our calling. And I think a lot of people get down on themselves because they don't know what to do in life, and they get discouraged. They say, oh, forget it. But if you just think about for a second, like, what do you like to do? You know, what are you good at? And if you start to go down that road and I'll end it with this. My last tip would be, I think you can achieve anything great in 3 to 5 years. If you think about this, if you think about any level of grade school, middle school, high school, college, master's or doctorate degree, or if you think about my wrestling career in high school in 3 to 5 years, or my bodybuilding career 3 to 5 years, all of that to achieve something next level, something great, something extraordinary, I think would only take you 3 to 5 years if you're completely and totally 100% disciplined to it. So if you can dedicate yourself for that time period, day in, day out, and sacrifice and give everything to your goal for 3 to 5 years, I think you can be one of the greatest now and potentially one of the greatest of all time if you keep going.
Does that mean I should quit bodybuilding because I've been doing this 6 years now?
I should have quit like 9 times already.
You have to think, guys, right? You have to think, look, you both are pushing 300 pounds, you know, straight jacked bodybuilders. That's extraordinary. That's unbelievable. I told you earlier, that's 40 pounds above what I've ever been. So I'm just saying is that if you can discipline and dedicate yourself for 3 to 5 years, you know, someone it's a little slower, 5 years, someone's a little quicker, 3 years. But I think everybody has an opportunity to do something great in 3 to 5 years that they're very passionate about and they discipline themselves and dedicate themselves to.
Well, for someone who didn't know whether they had 5 things, they were pretty good, to be fair.
Yeah.
Number 4 was definitely my favorite. I can't even remember what it was. It just hurt my soul too much.
It wasn't even that good.
I go back to the gym now.
Yeah. I've got to put my 5 years in the next year, otherwise I'm fucked.
Exactly.
No, but I would say, man, you might not be you know, Olympic competitor, but 295 and the pictures you showed me earlier before we started recording, man, like that's next level stuff, man. You're that 1% of the world, man. Like, I'm not saying you're that 1% of bodybuilders, but damn, you're pretty close to that too. You know what I mean? That's something that very, very, very few people can say they ever achieved. I mean,
yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, puts it in perspective.
You're all right, Dan. You're all right.
I'm okay.
Ron's better though.
Ron's so much better.
Look at him.
I want him.
That's an awesome dog. I love that.
Yeah, he's great.
I guess that's the bombshell.
I think that's the bombshell.
Ron's the bombshell.
I'm gonna go eat my stir fry.
Hey,
I'm gonna go and eat shit and die.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Derrick. Wicked, man.
Thank you,
Great
brother.
to meet you. Thank you so much.
Good luck for the Olympia, brother.
Yeah,
thank
mate.
you guys.
All the best.
Talk to you guys soon.
Speak soon.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Cheers, bud.